Hey, good afternoon, good day. This is Michael Forrester with WebAge Technologies. I'm a senior technical trainer focused on AWS and DevOps, and I'm here to talk to you about our virtual capabilities when it comes to our virtual instructor-led courses. So we focus on customized technical training, and we do follow the official AWS coursework, but we like to customize it to make sure that retention and immersion are maximized. The very nature of learning is as a process of disruption. And too much disruption means you don't learn anything because it's too chaotic, and too little disruption means you're bored. It means you're not taking anything in. So one of our goals and our focus here is to provide a learning experience that's just enough disruptions in that Goldilocks zone of disruption. And we use a variety of different techniques when we go virtual to accomplish this. First and foremost is the camera that you're seeing now. So we use two cameras whenever we conduct our virtual-led classes. One is this face-to-face camera, which we tend to use a lot when it's a virtual-only environment or virtual-only class. The other one that we use a lot is what you'll see in the screen in the upper right-hand corner, which I'm going to blow up, and this is called our owl. And if you look in the lower left-hand side, you can actually see the owl. It actually looks like a little owl device. It's actually pretty cool. And the owl is focused on providing a 360-degree view. So if I stand up and I slide over here and I want to teach on my whiteboard and I'm doing this, the camera will actually, if I stay here long enough, it will actually pivot to focus on me. So as I move around the room, you'll see it transition to different viewpoints depending on who's speaking at the time. And so it'll actually show student interactions and all kinds of cool stuff going on in the room. Now, outside of that, what will happen is that you'll see the cameras change based on the number of students. So right now it's just showing mine because I'm the only one joined on this particular share. But students get added to the top and you'll see multiple students. And so we have cameras on so that you can actually put a human face to what you're learning, but also so we can assess and read the students to make sure that they're not bored, they're not engaged. Does someone have a question? Is someone showing that face that shows that they're not super clear about like what's happening right now? So which is when we want to talk to them the most, right? In addition, we like to throw in a bunch of extras to any kind of lecture content, because typically what you see is this, right? You see this, here we are, I'm talking, I've got my clicker, I'm scrolling through the thing, and that's great, right? And then we might switch to labs. So like if this is the official AWS Cloud Practitioner Essentials course, if I'm scrolling through the content and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're at a lab, right? And then suddenly what might happen is that now we're in quick labs. Right? And that's great. That lecture lab combination is a great way to learn. And then every once in a while, though, you might need some reinforcement. So we'll use things like Jeopardy games to disrupt you at the end of every module to ask questions. Like, for example, name one of the 5 pillars of the AWS well-architected framework. But guess what? Security was one of them, right? Or maybe when we might switch to something called flashcards. What is the key attribute that makes AWS the most cost efficient for your business, right? We might do flashcards, meaning automated elasticity is the answer in this case. We also offer mobile flashcards so that you can go through and learn things like what is the D2 family type, what is the R4, R5. Like, we offer a variety of different ways to stay engaged, to challenge you while you're in class. In addition, while you're in class, we might for example, switch over to whiteboard. So frequently we'll do shares, and so like in this case, I'm going to share a VPC diagram. And what we'll do is we'll do annotations and other interactive pieces to the diagram to emphasize different components. Like I might be talking about route tables and how routing is necessary for subnets to find each other. Or I might say, well, guess what? Network access control groups, they're stateless. So you need a rule for inbound and for outbound. It's different than security groups. And so I'll use different arrows and different means of emphasizing what I'm talking about. I might draw some text. I might highlight a box around something. And so we use a lot of interactive diagrams to kind of take us off path in order to make sure that the students are getting a variable type of input. The other thing that we'll do is that I might switch over to command line. I'm very big on demos. Actually, let me clear on my drawings and switch to an interactive mode. And so, I might show them like a basic command like, describe instances, right? Just to highlight, hey, this is what's happening. Sometimes we'll switch to the console, so to show people what's going on. So then in that case, it actually return my lone lab instance that's running right now, right? And so that is one of the several methods that we use. Probably the last thing to talk about is that we also will frequently use whiteboards. So I might switch to a whiteboard methodology where let's say I'm talking about, let's pick an example. I'm talking about microservices, so I'm kind of drawing out these instances that we're using and showing that we are going to spread microservices out across different instances based on types. Maybe we've got some blue microservices and we've got some red microservices, and some of these, for example, might have a database, and so the blue database is here, and we're doing a many-to-one relationship, which isn't necessarily recommended, but sometimes can be more possible for microservice architecture. And so I'm highlighting. Oops, there's got to be a red database somewhere over here. I'm using this to draw and highlight different aspects or concepts as another way of kind of maintaining engagement. It's just stuff that we do in a normal classroom, but not just, we emphasize it more in virtual. So that is most of the options that we use inside of our virtual classes. We also use breakout rooms. So sometimes when we have groups of people together, we might have a pretty large cluster or sizable cluster of folks, and we will separate them out into individual rooms so that they can actually talk amongst themselves. And the instructor will hop into the room, hop out if necessary in order to take care of other teams. But between the video cameras, both the direct one and the group one, between doing quizzes and flashcards and other disruptive events during the lecture lab series, and between doing custom diagrams and breakout rooms in our virtual sessions, those are the primary things that we do to keep students engaged and assess students very cleanly as we teach our virtual classes. I'm Michael Forrester. Great to talk to you with Web-based Solutions, Senior Technical Trainer, and thank you for listening.